Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I should realize because I have an elbow. Actually, I have two.
We
Um,
all do, or most of
the
us.
the parts of your elbow, like how they're built, and how with Tommy John, with them drilling the holes in your elbow, there's really not room for more than two Tommy Johns. So if you have two and you hurt your elbow again, you're screwed.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, alongside Brian McKeon. Brian, how are we doing today?
Day 2 of no Cole, surviving.
Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Our next big number is 8,500 subscribers. We're less than 20 away. We're so close. Yeah, so subscribe to the channel on YouTube, like our videos, and hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. On today's show, Clarke Schmidt made his spring debut. We'll tell you how it went. Should the Yankees give up major pieces for a trade for what's out there in order to replace Gerrit Cole in the rotation? Because there are pieces out there. We're going to go through some of the people. But first, we're going to discuss Brian Cashman's comments on everything that's happening with Gerrit Cole. Did we hear anything? Because we're recording this nearly 10 o'clock p.m. Tuesday. Did we hear anything about the surgery?
No, I haven't seen anything online about how the results of the surgery went. Again, I'm not really too nervous just because one of the best doctors that's really known for doing the surgery is performing it, but we don't actually know how it went as of, roughly 10 p.m. the night prior.
Because I just was wondering if there was Gerrit Cole successfully underwent whatever kind of surgery it was. And we're going to talk about the fact that the idea that I had that maybe he was holding out for the brace, it's a possibility he could have gotten that if they opened up his elbow and saw that the damage wasn't as bad as they thought it was, or could be repaired by the internal brace instead of full Tommy John, because the brace is quicker recovery time, not that quick, but quicker compared to a full Tommy John is brutal. Have you read The Arm by Jeff Passan?
I actually haven't, but I do know the surgery, and the recovery period seems to be different for a lot of guys too. Some guys are back in 10 months, and some guys are back in 16 months. Right. It really is relative to what the guy can do, so that kind of puts a monkey wrench in the whole thing too.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I should realize because I have an elbow. Actually, I have two.
We all do, or most of us.
The parts of your elbow, like how they're built, and how with Tommy John, with them drilling the holes in your elbow, there's really not room for more than two Tommy Johns. So if you have two and you hurt your elbow again, you're screwed, basically.
I don't think, no pun intended, with the screws they put in your elbow, but I don't know if I've heard of anyone having three.
No,
I've definitely heard of two.
No, you can't, because there's literally no room.
No, I mean, tearing the UCL a third time. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing that. Has that actually happened?
I wonder if anyone has. We should look that up, because the point is, if someone does a third time, they're
done anyway. Because it doesn't really affect your daily. It's not like a torn ACL, where a normal person can tear their ACL and they need to get operated on because they can't perform daily actions and stuff. Tommy John is the same thing.
Or if you're like my brother and you tear your ACL, your meniscus, your everything in your knee, and you walk around on it for 3 months before you go to a doctor, and the doctor lets you know, oh, by the way, you tore basically every possible thing you could tear in your knee, and he was limping around with it for like 3 months.
Smart. Would not recommend that of your brother's part.
No, do not. Nope.
But you can tear your UCL in your arm for just hyperextending it and still live your daily life. So
isn't that how Gleyber Torres did?
Yes, diving into home plate head first.
And every time he did that after that, when he became a Yankee, every time I saw him slide into home plate like that, I was like,
yep.
Why would you do that?
But his recovery, like you said, though, his was like 10 months because
he's not a pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. So it does vary.
Yeah. Cashman spoke to Meredith Marakovits, obviously, because she speaks to everyone. He said once he knew that Cole was going for a second opinion and that it was Tommy John, that, he'd be done for the year. And when asked if it was in the back of his mind after Cole's injury last year that this could happen in the future, Cashman said, well, every pitcher is one pitch away, which is basically dodging the question. But it is true because we've talked about the mechanics of pitching, the arm angle, the speed. I don't know how more guys aren't having their arms explode on a daily basis.
While you're right on that point, the answer still did annoy me. Because it was, oh, well, everyone's technically one. Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone can, it's like that classic phrase, everyone can walk out of their front door and trip and crack their skull open in the morning. But does it happen to the majority of people? No. Like, right. Sure. Everyone can tear their UCL the next pitch they throw. But there was a higher likelihood with it happening to Gerrit Cole. So that's kind of where Meredith was going with the question. She wasn't asking, did you think this would happen ever? Like, come on.
And he was being his usual evasive self. Like I had just mentioned, he said he won't know until the surgery is fully done whether it was an internal brace or straight Tommy John. The internal brace recovery is slightly quicker. So yeah, they really don't know until, and that happens with a lot of surgeries. Like, sometimes you look at an image and you think, okay, this is what needs to be repaired. And then once you open the person up, you're like, oh, wait, okay, maybe it's not as bad, or, oh, maybe it's worse. We have to do a full reconstruction. So
Elatrosh is the first one to perform the brace surgery, by the way, which is a quicker recovery. I believe it's like 8 to 10 months as opposed to over a year. But yeah, like you said, they don't know until they physically cut you open and see the damage itself. So, and I don't know that information. I would assume if Cole got the surgery done in California, he's in a hospital somewhere sleeping or resting or something like that by now. So they're not going to release that information.
We'll find out Wednesday morning. We'll find out Wednesday morning. Yeah,
exactly.
With the brace surgery, they started doing that a few years ago. And when the Rays had that rash of guys injuring their elbows, they had 6 pitchers injure their elbows. And I can't remember the exact breakdown, but I know at least 2 of them got the brace. And I know a few of them, including Tyler Glasnow, got Tommy John surgery. But the brace was a big help to a couple of the guys on the Rays. Could you imagine losing 6 pitchers within a year to an elbow injury?
Devastating. I did see a couple of people comment on our last episode calling us out because we said that a majority of pitchers come back from Tommy John stronger than they were prior.
Well, don't say we. You said that.
No, but you agreed with me.
I was like, yeah, sure, okay. But I mean, recently, yes. It never used to be like that because
but used to be is 20 years ago.
They've gotten better at the surgery because they have to do so many of them now, including kids like you spoke about. So they've really refined the surgery and really know what they're doing now compared to 20, 30 years ago when they first did it, like especially for Tommy John. Like,
Well, yeah. But that's my point, though, is we're living in today's era, not 20, 30 years ago. So the narrative of 20, 30 years ago that not everyone comes back, healed from it, that's not accurate anymore. Everybody comes back healed from it, and majority of guys come back stronger. It's just percentages. And if you don't believe me, because I did want to address the people that were commenting and calling me an idiot because of that comment. Look no further than Tyler Glasnow, who throws like 3 miles an hour harder after his Tommy John surgery. I could be dumb. I'm not saying I'm not dumb. I'm pretty dumb, but
I mean, we all can be. We all have moments of that where we say things where we're like, oh, wait, okay. But I wonder, okay, we need to make a list of all the players who are currently playing in baseball who have had either 1 or 2 Tommy Johns, because I think there are a couple guys who have had 2. I think, has Nate Eovaldi have had?
Yes, he has. He's had 2. And also, by the way, came back stronger and better after his second Tommy John surgery.
I'm trying to think of who else.
Jacob deGrom. I believe he's had 2 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of his was in college.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just in the last
it's rampant. It's all over the sport.
In the last 10 years. Yeah, I would say the last 10 years, it has gone way up. I'm trying to think of when did Matt Harvey have his done?
Oh, yeah. He's another one, too. I don't think he had 2. But yeah, he's another one.
Well, that was like 2013 or 14, I think, right? When that happened.
Noah Syndergaard had 1 too. Came back throwing harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Henry Rowan-Gardner.
Yeah. Happens to it just that one little comment. I know we get like thousands of comments and they're all great and we thank you all for them. The one little one did bother me.
Oh, well, you're human and that happens. But don't guys, don't call us idiots in the comments.
Oh, I'm dumb. I agree. I'm not
but
not acknowledging
don't use
that. But
that kind of language. Like, say that we said something silly. That's a little better than calling us idiots. Like, don't do that.
no, but I'm okay. Call me whatever you want to call me. But just if you're gonna call me that, make sure you're accurate in your statement. Don't be wrong.
So what's going to happen with Cole out? So there are guys who have a chance to make the roster who you wouldn't think would make the roster, like Carlos Carrasco. Could possibly be like one of those, like he probably won't last the whole year, but they'll plug him in like at the beginning of the year. It's a warm body basically who can start every 5 days if you need him to at this point. Yeah,
gets him a salary. Gets him a salary, and Cashman kind of did reiterate, this is why you bring in non-roster invitees in case for these reasons. He made an interesting quote. We'll get to it in the next segment of, what guys he was after and thinking about for non-roster invitees that now weren't available because they were so stacked once upon a time a month ago. So it is interesting to really look at like how he's going to reevaluate the roster, because if there was one place you didn't think you were going to have a problem, it's pitching, and now it's the biggest problem on the roster.
Funny how that works. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get texts from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We'll send out lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, should the Yankees give up major pieces for a short-term solution? We'll discuss that next.
Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. Now, personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, and whether I'm snacking at my desk on a road trip or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite as well. Wonderful Pistachios is a complete protein, providing all 9 essential amino acids. No shells, Wonderful Pistachios for that grab and go ease. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. And thanks again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. Remember that every Friday is Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath the pinned comment on our videos. That's Monday through Thursday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. Those fans get top priority during Fan Mail Friday. That link's in our description. So, Stacey, when asked about the pitching market and what's available out there, Brian Cashman noted 2 things. One, there are not a lot of guys that are on the roster as non-roster invitees because the Yankees invited a lot of guys, and a lot of guys turned them down because the Yankees pitching staff was so stacked, they figured there was no way they were making the Yankee roster, which I guess, makes sense. I understand where he's coming from, Cashman, in saying that. So there wasn't a lot of availability to go get those guys. Now, he did say there's a potential that they can acquire guys from, those guys that don't make teams that are non-roster invitees and other teams right now. There's the waiver wire. There will be some maneuverability. Brian Hoke had this quote from Cashman. He said, very little is available in the pitching marketplace at this time of the year. The Yankees will rely on what we have while exploring outside opportunities. Luxury tax penalties make it less likely they will add from the outside. Obviously, there's a lot of maneuverability when it comes to that, though, Stacey. I don't buy into that totally because, are they going to go acquire somebody on the outside that's going to cost them a lot of money because of the luxury tax? No, but you could also package someone with that guy and have the contract moved, and then the luxury tax stays exactly the same. So it's not that crazy. You could also acquire a pitcher who's not making a lot of money, like that's at the end of his rookie contract, like, I don't know, Michael King or a Sandy Alcantara. There are guys out there that you can acquire. So you got to remember this too. Brian Cashman still is playing the job of GM. He's not going to give out, the state secrets right now of what they're trying to do. He's not going to come out and say, oh, we're trying to do X, Y, and Z. How does that benefit him? It doesn't. It benefits him zero. So he's going to play this a little carefully too. While we did make this point yesterday, Stacey. He is kind of in between a rock and a hard place. This is not ideal because now teams know that you're desperate for a pitcher. So now the price of every other pitcher goes up and up and up and up. But, Brian Cashman is still part of a negotiation too. So he's not going to give away his secrets as well. So there is a little bit of a chess match going on in the media now when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I just can't believe this happened. See, okay. If Cole's elbow was hurt last year like this, because it was hurt last year, but I mean, if when he first got hurt and it was, oh no, it's Tommy John, he'd be on the road to recovery right now. But then would the Yankees have made the World Series? But then would the Yankees have made the World Series and embarrassed themselves in the World Series? Like, we had good moments last year that, you had Juan Soto's home run to win the ALCS. You can't really forget that. And it's just, I really, this bothers me so much.
It delays the track of everything going on too. The constant narrative has been, are they really not going to win a championship during the Cole and Judge era through their primes? And, this affects everybody. It's not just Gerrit Cole that gets affected here. Now he gets affected the greatest, obviously, but now you're going to get Gerrit Cole back at a year and a half older than he already was. And the age of these two superstars was not on the Yankees side necessarily. And now Aaron Judge is also a year and a half older when Gerrit Cole comes back. That's just my point in the whole thing. And we're going to discuss it in the next segment of what our realistic expectations are for them now. But Stacey, you can't hide from it. Like, we're not sitting here saying they're not going to have an entertaining season. I think they think there's still going to be reasons to watch, and they'll be a fun team to watch for sure. But make no mistake, I don't see how they win a championship without a top 5 player in the sport on the roster. I know everyone wants to keep the faith alive and everything, and that's a great way to live your life, but sometimes you got to let realism kind of step in a little bit, right? And I don't know how you win a championship with, again, a top 5 player in the sport missing from day one. Now, I do want to gauge the interest of you on this point. Because people are putting the names out there. Generally, the 3 names that are out there are guys that are available are Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins, Dylan Cease from the Padres, and Michael King from the Padres. All 3 have proven themselves to be really elite level pitchers in this league. Guys the Yankees could certainly use. Now, I don't know if any of them are at Gerrit Cole's level, but still guys that you'd like to use. Now, my question to you is, because teams now know and the price of everything is going to go up now because they know that you're desperate, is it worth salvaging or trying to salvage the season by acquiring one of these guys and pretty much entering your farm system? Or you don't think they can afford to do that?
I don't think they can. I saw an article earlier, and I wish I had pulled it up to put it in the rundown. I think it was in the New York Post. And it was mentioning how Aaron Judge was advocating for them to try and get Sandy Alcantara, which I thought was interesting. Because Judge and Cole are the 2 guys that the Yankees go to when they want to talk about, literally, hey, should we get this guy? Should we get this guy? And now that one of the guys is recovering from Tommy John surgery. Not that he wouldn't be a guy, because, Cole's going to be around the team when he's recovering. Like, when he's feeling better, you'll see him. And, there might come a time where maybe they do something internally for the first few months, and then at the trade deadline, they try and come up with a package to get someone. Like, maybe some team does really badly. Like, maybe the Padres are going to be awful or something, and Cashman could work out a deal to get Cease or King in a package for someone to get them to help the Yankees down the stretch run.
The thing is, I just think that, again, the point's going to remain, and we're going to probably repeat this 1,000 times until that deadline comes. Every team in baseball knows you're desperate. So they're going to be charging you, are you okay?
Well, they already do, though. There's already the Yankees tax. Like, they always try to get the most
now it's worse
out
than
of
ever.
The Yankees. But yeah,
now it's worse than ever.
With this level of desperation, it's going to be 10 times worse. Like, every time a Yankee fan sees, the Yankees will, you'll hear a report that the Yankees are offering this for a player. And then you see another team pull off a trade with that same team for someone much less. And you're just like, what? It's going to be so much worse now. Are you in the class though of are you moving Spencer Jones to get one of these guys? Are you moving Chase Hampton? Because you said on yesterday's show, and I agree with your point a lot.
now what you're doing is putting a Band-Aid on an iceberg level, cracking a ship.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you're fixing much by doing this. I mean, we're not going to sugarcoat it. This is as devastating as my computer stand broke. This is as devastating as an injury the Yankees could have had. Here's the problem. You trade one of those top minor leaguers that could end up becoming a superstar. Like, how would the Yankees feel right now if in 2015 they traded Aaron Judge because they were looking to try and ride that 2015 team that barely made the playoffs into a championship?
Right.
Like you seriously regret making that trade, and they didn't make that deal. And let's be real, if they were going after an ace at that point, there's 1,000% chance Aaron Judge would have had to be in that deal. And they didn't make the deal, and that's what happened. So I wonder, sometimes the moves you don't make are the moves that are the best ones that you make. So while I get the desperation and I get not wanting to waste the season, especially in the middle of Aaron Judge's prime, you've also got Giancarlo Stanton hurt this year. You've got Bellinger on a 1-year deal. You got Goldschmidt on a 1-year deal. I'm not saying they can't make the playoffs this year, Stacey, but I don't know if it's worth mortgaging your entire future more than it already is just to get a pitcher who, it can be really great, but it still is not going to match Gerrit Cole's level.
Right. I think the Yankees are going to do what they have done in years past and just hope for the best, sneak in with a wild card spot and try to make it through the playoffs that way, because the playoffs are a crapshoot, right, Brian Cashman? So
yeah, and we'll discuss it in the next segment of what we really think those expectations could be, because we've discussed how they're changed. But let's really break down what they should be at this point, because they, a week ago, certainly were World Series. Now I think they're a little bit different. But I do want to say to Yankee fans, our answers are probably going to be a little more optimistic than you guys think we're going to say.
Yeah, we had a couple of nights of sleep now.
Yeah.
After the initial news, and it's not as dire as it was when we first started recording right after finding out that he needed Tommy John. So it will be a little more tempered, I guess, in segment 3. So coming up, we will talk about the expectations, and we'll let you know how Clarke Schmidt looked during his first spring start.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you can use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's SH5 at supplyhouse.com. Stacey, Clarke Schmidt went through his first outing of the spring season because he was injured coming in. Did pretty well. I think he will be a little bit delayed when it comes to starting the regular season, but doesn't sound like it's going to be too drastic, right?
Yeah, they said he's definitely not pitching the first time through the rotation. I think they were aiming for around April 6th, and the season starts March 27th. So about a little over a week. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think he'll survive.
Yeah, he 2 1/3 innings, 3 runs on 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. He gave up a home run. People who watched it said that his stuff was good, the control was not, but it's his first outing, and he didn't hurt himself. So that's, I say it all the time. That's all I care about. He didn't hurt himself. Let's go, because that's the last thing the Yankees need.
Yeah, and generally what they do say is when you start spring training, your control is the last thing to really hone in as the spring goes on. So I don't have any worries or doubts in how Clarke Schmidt will look. He's proven himself at this point going through. So it'll be interesting. He's going to be a big part of their season now, a way bigger part than people thought he was going to be. He's going to need to perform. That's it, straight and simple. He's going to have to be an elite level pitcher.
Yeah. One thing before we talk about expectations. I brought this up on Tuesday's show. I would like to show everyone, this is my Red Sox fan friend, and this is the message he sent me on Instagram. It says, you know where I stand on the Yankees, but that sucks a lot. If we beat the Yankees this year, I want it to beat them at their best. Weirdly hope this doesn't end up worst case scenario. Now, he sent that to me Saturday night about Cole when the news first came out. So I just wanted to prove to you that, yes, they don't want great things for the Yankees, but they don't want great players to not be playing. They want to beat the Yankees at their best.
That way. I think any sports fan is that way. You want to beat your rival at their best, but we love sports because we love the athletes that are playing, and we all want to see the best versus the best. So no, I don't root for Rafael Devers to get hurt. Like, no. I want to watch the best players play. So I don't agree with people who are happy. Like, if you're a sports fan, your true heart, like, you want to watch Gerrit Cole pitch. You don't want to watch a pitch against your team, but you want to watch a pitch.
Right.
So I don't agree with those people at all that are, celebrating this.
Yeah. So the win totals, I think the prediction at first was a Pacoda was 94.
Yeah.
And now it's hovering. I saw someone write it out on Blue Sky earlier on Tuesday that they're predicting 87 wins, third place, and maybe like coin toss playoffs, like barely making it into the playoffs, or, it could be either way. Like, they might just miss the playoffs kind of thing. And that's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
From, returning to the World Series predictions from most people.
I'll say this. I don't think they're a you need to go back to the World Series team. That expectation needs to be changed drastically.
Sure.
I'm not going to sit here and say that. However, I still think they're a playoff team. 87 wins sounds about accurate, but I think 87, 88 wins get you into the playoffs in the American League.
The AL is not strong. I think the best team in the AL is probably going to win like 93 or 94. Like, you're not going to see 100. I mean, if I'm wrong at the end of the season, you can call me out on this, but from what I'm looking at, all the different rosters, the moves that teams made, and yes, things can change in the second half, but right now, looking at the teams, I don't see one reaching 100 wins.
No, I agree with you completely. I don't see it either. The Yankees, I think, will be competitive all year. Like, they didn't lose a ton of offense. The pitching is really what's gotten hurt. And I think they'll be able to still pitch. Now, again, you're going to need good years out of Fried, out of Rodon, but you need those good years every year. And I do think they're talented enough. Also, their bullpen is pretty stacked. I do think they're talented enough to be able to win upper 80s, maybe low 90s of games. I think the expectation now has to be playoffs. It has to be lowered to that level. And that's a huge drop from pennant. I mean, I think, you pretty much too, and me, we're both saying they need to go out and win the American League. That's the expectation at this point. I don't think it is anymore.
No.
But I still think it's a playoff team. I don't think this team has a built-in excuse now they missed the postseason. They're not that bad yet.
Yeah. And again, things can happen. People can step up. Trades can be made. And it might not even be a big trade. It could be one of those, like, maybe Cashman has one of those trade deadlines that he used to have where he gets someone that you're completely surprised about and, they actually contribute down the stretch. Maybe they call up, maybe someone from like AAA comes up and does something amazing. Like, you never know. But playoffs, I would say yes. This team is they're not going to go from being predicted to be a 94 win team to being a 79 win team unless something else catastrophic happens. We talked about it on Tuesday's show. Gerrit Cole, during his Cy Young year, the WAR was 7.7. So that's 7 games. So it makes sense for them to go from 94 to 87. If anything else major happens, then sure, I could see the win total go down. But if things stay the way they are, if Stanton comes back at some point and he's not out the rest of the season, if Dominguez learns how to play left, by the way, he made a really good catch running catch that had a 20% chance of being a catch.
Yeah, no one posted about that, though. It's weird.
Right. Isn't that strange how that doesn't happen? Yeah. Yeah. So, maybe Bernie Williams' pep talk helped him, possibly. But I know we both sounded very negative when all this first started, but like I said, we've had some sleeps, daylight savings started, we're a little more refreshed now. I still think this team is a playoff team. Do I see them winning the AL East? No, but I see them sneaking in as a wild card at the moment.
Completely agreed. I that's the thing that's struggling is I don't think they're the best team in the American League East anymore.
No.
I think Boston's better than them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like Boston was going to be annoying even when the Yankees had Cole, and now it's like, ugh.
Yeah, and I think who knows what Toronto's going to do, but you have a motivated Vlad Guerrero Jr. going into a contract year. Who knows what Baltimore's going to do?
He's motivated and annoyed. He's motivated and annoyed by his ownership, so he's going in with a chip on his shoulder, and if it works in his favor, because sometimes guys go in with chips on their shoulder and they don't have a good year, but if it works in his favor, he's going to be scary.
Yeah, so there's a lot of competition. I think the American League East is probably the best division in baseball right now. So it's a lot of competition, that in the National League East. So we'll see. It's not going to be an easy year, but I don't think the expectation should be lowered to missing the postseason. They should still be a playoff team.
Right. They're not the Titanic.
No.
Not yet.
No. Yeah, exactly.
At this moment, they're not. They're not, or at least they're not the Titanic on April. What was the date? April 12th, 1912. They're not that Titanic. They're one that took off from England on their way.
Good.
Everything's good. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball with hosts Dominic Martino and Matthew Ane. MLB fantasy draft season is here, so be the most informed fan and set yourself up for a league win. You can find Locked On Fantasy Baseball on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.